Well, let me give you a couple in major and minor keys just to kind of keep it spicy. So those two, I think, are really good examples. Like if you think about the I'm using scare quotes here for those not watching a video, the kind of like the Lydian chord, like using that 1 to like a major chord built on the 2 chord. It's like a brightening of the major scale, whereas that 1 to a minor 5 chord is like a kind of darkening effect, making a more kind of mournful take on a major scale. But you can do similar things in a minor scale. So here an example could be, let's say you're in the key of A minor and you want something that instead of having that typical kind of minor sound, which a lot of the time can be very like vanilla ice cream, like it's sad, but it's not particularly interesting. Try grabbing a 2 chord, which is a minor chord. So in other words, you're going like A minor to B minor. And this is borrowing a chord from the Dorian mode. You get this kind of very complex, sort of a little bit more jazz voiced kind of sound. That's a pretty cool one to try out. Another one that I really like, and it's a little bit hard to use, this is a little bit more specific. So another Mixolydian change would be taking in, let's say, an A major chord, we're in like the key of A here, and using a G major chord, so like a flat 7, a major chord built on a flat 7. But I recommend trying that as a major 7 chord, so like putting the major 7 interval in there. Incredibly emotional and just, I don't know, just interesting. I'm just throwing out some that I find the most interesting here. And let me think. Okay, final one isn't a modal one, but this is something that I think every songwriter should have in their arsenal, is using a minor chord built on the 4 degree. So think like Creep is kind of, this is that sound. But if you are a songwriter and, you're interested in kind of borrowing chords, this, strictly speaking, you could say is being borrowed from like the parallel Aeolian mode. If you're in the key of A major, it comes from A Aeolian, a D minor built, in this case, on the 4 chord, but a minor chord rather than a major, which you'd, ostensibly have in a major key. It's funny, I said that doesn't come from a mode. Of course it does. It's just quite far removed. It's not like a major mode, a parallel major mode. It's a minor mode in that case. So that's 5 to try out. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you just, as a songwriter, sit down and say, okay, I'm going to dig into like the Mixolydian mode as a bunch of alternative chords to like, the major built on the same key, you'll find some cool stuff that you've never found before. And I highly recommend it. So hopefully that's enough. And hopefully that wasn't too much of a ramble.